we are going to discuss continuous and comprehensive evaluation, that is CCE. Continuous and comprehensive evaluation refers to a system of school based on evaluation of a student that covers all aspects of student development. It is a development process of student which emphasizes on twofold objectives. These objectives are continuity in evaluation and assessment of broad based learning and behavioral outcomes on the other. The term continuous is meant to emphasize that evaluation of identified aspects of students' growth and development is a continuous process rather than an event, but built into the total teaching learning process and spread over the entire span of academic session. It means regularity of assessment, frequency of unit testing, diagnosis of learning gaps, use of corrective measures, retesting, and feedback of evidence to teachers and students for their self-evaluation. The second term, comprehensive, means that the scheme attempts to cover both the scholastic and the co-scholastic aspects of the student's growth and development. Since abilities, attitudes, and aptitudes can manifest themselves in forms other than the written word, the term refers to application of variety of tools and techniques, both testing and non-testing, and aims at assessing a learner's development in areas of listening like knowledge, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating. Continuous evaluation helps in bringing awareness of the achievement to the child, teachers, and parents from time to time. They can look into the probable cause of the fall in performance, if any, and may take remedial measures of instruction in which more emphasis is required. Many times, because of some personal reasons, family problems, or adjustment problems, the children start neglecting their studies, resulting in sudden drop in their performance. If the teacher, child, and parents do not notice the sudden drop in the performance of the child in academics, it could result in a permanent deficiency in the child's learning. The major emphasis of CC is on the continuous growth of students, ensuring their intellectual, emotional, physical, cultural, and social development, and therefore it will not be merely limited to assessment of learners' scholastic attainments. CCE uses assessment as a means of motivating learners to provide feedback and follow up work to improve upon the learning in the classroom and to present a comprehensive picture of learner's profile. Now we will discuss about objectives of CCE. The objectives of CCE are as follows: to help cognitive, psychomotor, and effective skills affective skills, to lay emphasis on thought process and de-emphasize memorization, to make evaluation an integral part of teaching learning process, to use evaluation for improvement of students' achievement and teaching learning strategies on the basis of regular diagnosis followed by remedial instructions, to use evaluation as a quality control device to maintain desired standard of performance, to determine social utility, desirability, or effectiveness of a program and take appropriate decisions about the learner, the process of learning, and the learning environment, to make the process of teaching and learning a learner centered activity. I will discuss about features of CCE. The features are: the continuous aspect of CCE takes care of continual and periodicity aspect of evaluation. Continuous means assessment of students in the beginning of instructions, that is placement evaluation, and assessment during the instruction process, formative evaluation done informally using multiple techniques of evaluation. Periodicity means assessment of performance done frequently at the end of unit or term, that is summative evaluation. The comprehensive component of CCE takes care of assessment of all-round development of child's personality. It includes assessment in scholastic as well as co-scholastic aspect. Scholastic aspect include curricular areas or subject-specific areas, whereas co-scholastic aspect include life skills, co-curricular activities, attitudes, and values. Assessment in scholastic areas is done informally and formally using multiple techniques of evaluation continually and periodically. The diagnostic evaluation takes place at the end of unit or term test. The causes of poor performance in some units are diagnosed using diagnostic tests. These are followed with appropriate interventions, followed by retesting. Assessment in co-scholastic areas is done using multiple techniques on the basis of identified criteria, while assessment in life skill is done on the basis of indicators of assessment and checklists. Now we will discuss functions of CCE. The functions of CCE are: it helps the teacher to organize effective teaching strategies. Continuous evaluation helps in regular assessment to the extent and degree of learners' progress, ability, and achievement with reference to specific scholastic and co-scholastic areas. Continuous evaluation serves to diagnose weaknesses and permits the teacher to ascertain certain individual learners' strengths and weaknesses and her needs. It provides immediate feedback to the teacher who can then decide whether a particular unit or concept needs a discussion again in the whole class or whether a few individuals are in need of remedial instruction. By continuous evaluation, children can know their strengths and weaknesses. It provides the child a realistic self assessment of how they study. It can motivate children to develop good study habits, to correct errors, and to direct their activities towards the achievement of desired goals. It helps a learner to determine the areas of instruction in where more emphasis is required. Continuous and comprehensive evaluation identifies areas of aptitude and interest. It helps in identifying changes in attitudes and value system. It helps in making decisions for the future regarding choice of subjects, courses, and careers. It provides information or reports on the progress of students in scholastic and co-scholastic areas and thus helps in predicting the future success of the learner. Now we will discuss about aspects of CCE. In order to have continuous and comprehensive evaluation, both scholastic and co-scholastic aspects need to be given due recognition. Such a holistic assessment requires maintaining comprehensive profile for each learner that is honest, encouraging, and discreet. This assessment can take many forms, but all of them should be as comprehensive and as discrete as possible. Weekly, fortnightly, or quarterly reviews, depending on the learning area, that do not openly compare one learner with another, are generally recommended. The objective is to promote and enhance not just learning and retention among children, but their soft skills as well. Now we will discuss about scholastic assessment. The objective of scholastic domain are desirable behavior related to the learner's knowledge, understanding, application, evaluation, analysis, and ability to help ability to apply it in an unfamiliar situation. To improve the teaching learning process, assessment should be both formative and summative. Assessment. It is a tool used by the teacher to continuously monitor student progress in a non-threatening, supportive environment. It involves regular descriptive feedback, a chance for the student to reflect on the performance, take advice, and improve upon it. It involves the students being an essential part of the assessment, from designating criteria of assessing self or peers. If used effectively, it can improve student performance tremendously while raising the self-esteem of the child and reducing the workload of the teacher. Formative assessment is carried out during a course of instruction for providing continuous feedback to both the teachers and the learners. It is also carried out for taking decisions regarding appropriate modification in the transactional procedures and learning activities. Now, the features of formative assessment. Some of the specific features of formative assessment are: it is diagnostic and remedial, makes provision for effective feedback, provide a platform for the active involvement of the students in their own learning, enables teacher to adjust teaching to take account of the results of assessment, recognizes the profound influence assessment has on the motivation and self-esteem of students, both of which are crucial influences on learning, recognizes the need for students to be able to assess themselves and understand how to improve, builds on students' prior knowledge and experience in designing what is taught, incorporates varied learning styles to decide how and what to teach, encourages students to understand the criteria that will be used to judge their work, offers an opportunity to students to improve their work after they get the feedback, help students to support their peer groups, and vice versa. Now we will discuss about summative assessment. Summative assessment is carried out at the end of a course of learning. It measures or sums up how much a student has learned from the course. It is usually a graded test, that is, it is marked according to the scale or set of grades. Assessment that is predominantly of summative nature will not by itself be able to yield a valid measure of the growth and development of the student. It at best certifies the level of achievement only at a given point of time. The paper pencil tests are basically a one time mode of assessment, and to exclusively rely on it to decide about the development of a student is not only unfair but also unscientific. Overemphasis and on examination marks that focus on only scholastic aspect in turn makes students assume that assessment is different from learning, resulting in the learn and forget syndrome. Besides encouraging unhealthy competition, the overemphasis on summative assessment system also produces enormous stress and anxiety among the learners. Now we will discuss about features of summative assessment. Some of the important features of summative assessment are given below. Assessment of learning. Generally, students at the end of unit or semester to demonstrate the sum of what they have or have not learned. Summative assessment methods are most traditional way of evaluating student work. Now, co-scholastic assessment. The desirable behavior related to learners' life skills, attitudes, interests, values, co-curricular activities, and physical health are described as skills to be acquired in co-scholastic domain. The process of assessing the student's progress in achieving objectives related to scholastic and co-scholastic domains is called comprehensive evaluation. It has been observed that usually under the scholastic domains such as knowledge and understanding of the facts, concepts, principles, etc. It has been observed that usually under the scholastic domains such as knowledge and understanding of the facts, concepts, principles, etc. of a subject are assessed. The co-scholastic elements are either altogether excluded from the evaluation process or they are not given adequate attention. For making the evaluation comprehensive, both scholastic and co-scholastic aspects should be given importance. Simple and manageable means of assessment of co-scholastic aspects of growth must be included in the comprehensive evaluation scheme. School-based a continuous and comprehensive evaluation system should be established to reduce children on reduce stress on children, make evaluation comprehensive and regular, provide space for the teacher for creative teaching, provide a tool of diagnosis and remedial action, produce learners with greater skills. Aims of school-based CCE: elimination of chance elements and subjectivity as far as possible, de-emphasize on memorization, encouraging comprehensive evaluation, incorporating both scholastic and co-scholastic aspects of learners' development. Continuous evaluation spread over the total span of the instructional time as an integral built-in aspect of total learning teaching learning process. Functional and meaningful declaration of results for effective use by teachers, students, parents, and the society. Wider uses of test results for purposes not merely of the assessment of levels of pupils' achievement and proficiencies, but mainly for their improvement through diagnosis and remedial or enrichment programs. Improvement in the mechanics of conducting examination for realizing a number of other allied purposes. Introduction of concomitant changes in instructions, material, and methodologies. Introduction of the semester system, the use of grades in place of marks in determining and declaring the level of pupil performance and proficiency. The above goals are relevant for both external examination and evaluation in school. Characteristics of school-based CCE. School-based evaluation has following characteristics. It is broader, more comprehensive and continuous than traditional system. Aims aims primarily to help learners for systematic learning and development. Takes care of the needs of children as responsible citizens of the future. It is more transparent, futuristic, provides more scope for association among learners, teachers, and parents. School-based evaluation provide opportunities to learners to know the following about their learners. what they learn, how they learn, what type of difficulties, limitations they face in working in tandem, what do children think, what do the children feel, what are their interests and dispositions. The focus has shifted to developing a deep learning environment. There is a paradigm shift in the pedagogy and competencies from controlling to enriching to empowering schools. Now, assessment paradigms. In this topic, following are the four assessment paradigms. Assessment of learning. This assessment of learning is defined as a process whereby someone attempts to describe and quantify the knowledge, attitudes, or skills possessed by another. Teacher direction is paramount, and the student has little involvement in the design or implementation of the assessment process in these circumstances. Teacher designs learning. Teacher collects evidence. Teacher judges what has been learned and what has not been learned. Assessment for previous knowledge. The assessment for learning involves increased level of student autonomy, but not without teacher guidance and collaboration. The assessment for learning is sometimes seen as being akin to formative assessment. There is more emphasis towards giving useful advice to the students and less emphasis on giving marks and the grading function. Teachers design learning. Teacher design assessment with feedback to students. Teacher judges what has been learned. Student develops insight into what has not. Now we will discuss about assessment as learning. The assessment as learning is perhaps more connected with diagnostic assessment and can be constructed with more on an emphasis on peer learning. Assessment as learning generates opportunities for self-assessment and peer assessment. Students take on increased responsibility to generate quality information about their learning and that of others. Teacher and student co-construct learning. Teacher and student co-construct assessment. Teacher and student co-construct learning process map. Assessment for learning and assessment as learning activity should be deeply embedded in teaching and learning and be the source of interactive feedback, allowing students to adjust, rethink, and relearn. Assessment in learning. The assessment in learning places the question at the center of teaching and learning. It deflects the teaching from its focus on a correct answer to a focus on a fertile question. Through inquiry, students engage in process that generates feedback about their learning, which come from multiple sources and activities. It contributes to the construction of other learning activities, line of inquiry, and the generation of other questions. Student as student as the center of learning. Student as the center of learning. Student monitors, assesses, and reflects on learning. Student initiates demonstration of learning to self and to other students. Teacher as coach and mentor. Teachers and students need to understand the purpose of each assessment strategy. The overall assessment package being used by learners and teachers should accurately capture, generate, and use meaningful learning information to generate deep learning and understanding. Thank you.